Doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year?
We're live in Sunrise, Florida for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, with the Panthers having scratched out a 5-4 overtime verdict on Friday night to even this best-of-7 Stanley Cup Final at a game apiece and essentially reduce it to a best-of-5 and a Game 3 that's often the tipping point. Historically, in the last 30 Stanley Cup Finals that have been tied at one game apiece, the Game 3 winner has won on 23 occasions. Let's get a look at our Coventry Ohms starting lineup. I'm Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer to my immediate right, and of course Bryn and Rob back in our 880 Ched Studios, the flagship home of the Oilers radio network. The biggest news, of course, is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will be in Edmonton's lineup tonight opposite Connor McDavid at center, and of course Corey Perry on the right-hand side. Nugent-Hopkins didn't take a lot of face-off, didn't take any really the last half of the game on Friday night, so we'll keep an eye on that in terms of his effectiveness. But that's the line that starts in front of goaltender Stuart Skinner. Defensive pairings, Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm remain intact. We're expecting to see a lot of Kulak and Wallman, Nurse and Klingberg tonight. Your starting lineup brought to you by Coventry Ohms, offering flexibility within reach. Get back in the game with customizable designs by Coventry Ohms, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers. On the Florida side, the Panthers counter with Sergei Bobrovsky in net. He has stopped 42 of 46 shots in each of the first two games of this series. And historically in the Stanley Cup Final, he's played to a save percentage of 93 at home as compared to 85 on the road. Gustav Forsling and Aaron Ekblad, their top defensive pairing, will start in front of Bobrovsky. And a line that, quite frankly, needs to get going from a Florida standpoint. Alexander Barkov at center with Reinhart and Verhaeghe the wingers. Barkov and Reinhart do not have any points in this series and are a combined -7 in the first two games. And yet, Florida has played Edmonton, as Bob has noted throughout our pregame show, essentially even, with the Oilers winning game one by a count of 4-3 in overtime and Florida prevailing 5-4 in double overtime. One note, Chris Knobloch, of course, coaches Edmonton. Paul Maurice on the Florida side, and the veteran coach for the Panthers can win his 1,000th game tonight. 1,000 combined regular season and playoff victories. That's your table setter. Edmonton, Florida. 5 consecutive games decided by 1 goal, and in this Stanley Cup Final, through nearly 9 periods of play, they've been separated by more than 1 goal, exactly 77 seconds. 2 absolute beauties in Edmonton. Now the scene shifts to Florida for tonight's Game 3 and Thursday's Game 4. Oiler fans scattered throughout the building tonight, but definitely Florida feeling that home ice vibe. It has not paid off for the Panthers to the same degree that they've done on the road this year. The Panthers are only 4-3 at home in the postseason. They are 9-3 away from home. And the Oilers, of course, come in with 6 wins in their last 7 games on the road, including closeout victories in Dallas and in Vegas, 2 of the tougher places to play in the Western Conference. Florida on home ice this year was not exceptional. So we'll see whether Edmonton, who lost a Game 7 in this building last June 24th, can regain home ice advantage with a win tonight in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. John Acosta's ready with our anthems.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid. Centers Kane for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
Nearly 20,000 people can cram into Amerant Bank Arena, and last June 24th, they saw the Panthers win their first Stanley Cup in a Game 7 Classic against Edmonton by a score of 2-1. The first two games of this Stanley Cup final were decidedly classics, but for different reasons. 4-3, 5-4 tight games, 3 overtimes, ebbs and flows, and 4 lead changes over the 2 games for the first time, actually the second time in 42 years. In short, it's been magnificent through 2 periods, 2 games, 9 periods, and now we've got Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. McDavid against Barkov, and we're underway with Edmonton having controlled the opening face-off. The Oilers in the white outlined in orange and blue pour into the offensive zone. Florida in the red with the blue pants and white trim, challenging up top. Bouchard a shot, and a save made by Bobrovsky. Is that puck available for just a moment? And Perry trying to dislodge, only to have it whistled down. 16 seconds into this hockey game.
Time 0 hours, 8 minutes,
And again, Bob, strength on strength, very minimal margins when you look at the first 2 games. Maybe an advantage for Florida on the third line, but Edmonton's top players, McDavid and Draisaitl, have gotten out of the blocks a lot quicker than Florida's top players.
And I guess if you're an Oilers partisan, that's something that you're a little nervous about, is will there be a significant pushback from Florida's top-end players? And conversely, the Oilers need a little bit more support further down the lineup.
Face-off win for Alexander Barkov, the Florida captain, and it's chipped out through center. Ekholm and Bouchard, who did not skate as a pair yesterday in practice, but will begin tonight's game. And then a little spin move by McDavid, taken off his feet, dishes Perry a shot, and that's brushed aside by goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky. And McDavid, not quite certain there shouldn't have been a penalty called there by veteran referees Wes McCauley and Francis Chiron, working in tandem with linesmen Scott Cherry and Trent Knorr. A face-off coming to Bobrovsky's left-hand side. Sergei Bobrovsky and Stuart Skinner, your goaltending matchup.
So they're going to go third line here out against the Draisaitl line.
And that means Anton Lundell, whom Bob and I have seen replace Barkov numerous times over the years when Barkov's been banged up and out of the lineup. as Florida's frontline center. And then Marchand, of course, will remind no one of a third-line player, even at age 37. Off the draw, up the right-hand side, the Panthers quickly punch it forward on net, and Marchand with a dangerous jab, and Nurse trying to ride him out of there, and Marchand gives ground. Nurse chases him all the way to the half wall just to let him know that sort of effort will not be appreciated tonight. But Brad Marchand, 7 goals, 17 points.
Great
Bob,
pickup.
I mean, he's right there with Sam Bennett in terms of the leading scorer this year for Florida in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Absolutely critical, because Reinhart clearly has been playing through an injury, as has Matthew Tkachuk.
Draisaitl digs in against Lundell, and off the draw it's Lundell. Takes it hard behind the net and then tried a short side pass. Came back to Lundell. Marchand shoots and scores. 1-0 Florida. 56 seconds in. The man who ended Game 2 opens the scoring in Game 3.
Well, that line again. And the wrong guy got the puck. The guy with the hottest stick going right now is Brad Marchand.
Update Audacity dialog. HTML window. Text Audacity 3.7.3 is available. Change logs 3.7.2 interactive logs and applying effects to multiple clips. From 3.7.2 truncate silence fails to work properly. There is more than one silence. From 3.7.1 stability improvements for effect applications. Mixer window. Cloud save. Modules can now remain 4 patterns. New one user update. Open the IMO again in 3.7 topics. Added a preference to turn off automatic tempo protection. Reinstated the residue option in noise reduction. Thanks. Christopher Reed. Added UUID instant support. https://www.audacity.org/www.audacity.notice. macOS fixed or sound pathology. Duplicated tracks now have independent real-time effect instances. Added a new get effects button next to the upload audio button. Read more on GRT.
Marchand. The other players with 3 are Draisaitl and Sam Bennett. That had not happened in the Stanley Cup Finals since 1932. And if I'm feeling courageous, I'd ask you, Bob, for a scouting report on Busher Jackson. But my guess is even you're not ready for that one.
I can't go that far back.
Marchand took extra time, Bob, to make sure Kapanen was clear, and he had a lane open before shooting that into the vacant net. Marchand from Lundell, 56 seconds in. Face-off back at center. And Sam Bennett wins the draw against Victor Arvidsson, who took it instead of Matthias Janmark. Panthers spill it in. Here's Janmark firing it from beyond center. Podkolzin's speed negates icing. Dmitry Kulikov for the Panthers. Up the right-hand side comes Sam Bennett. 2-on-2 for the Florida Panthers, moving right to left. Bennett looked for a return pass from Rodriguez, but it was broken up, and Brett Kulak will put it up the left-hand glass. Edmonton thought initially it was out of play, ruled otherwise, and now Podkolzin creates a 3-on-2. Here's Janmark to Jake Wallman. Lost the handle. And Mikkola was blasted by Janmark, but did manage to get the puck back to Nate Schmidt, who has 4 assists in the first 2 games of this series. Mikkola up to center, and he'll rifle it behind the Edmonton net, taken by Stuart Skinner. Evan Bouchard with a high flip back through the middle, and then funneled back in by Seth Jones, but Gadjevich was still lingering. One lineup change for Florida. They get A.J. Greer, a battle-tested banger in his 9th season, back from injury. He'll replace Jesper Boqvist, who offered speed, but Greer fits in nicely with Gadjevich on the wings with Tomáš Nosek in the middle. And now Nosek is going to be waved out of the circle, replaced by Greer, who won the face-off cleanly. And that's ripped in from center ice by Niko Mikkola. Greer and Rodriguez, both products of Boston University. Gadjevich to Greer. Tries to sneak down the wall. Henrique on him. Greer got away, shoveled it back to the point for Mikkola. Left-hand side, Greer will put it back behind the net. 2 1/4 gone by in the first period. Panthers have jumped out 1-0. Shot by Seth Jones. That sailed wide. Gadjevich unable to hammer it in short side. And Trent Frederick races over to make a clear to center ice for Edmonton. Gadjevich will shovel it in. And now Stuart Skinner out to handle it. Oilers with control. Klingberg up the right-hand side. Nifty move by McDavid. He got through Barkov again, as he did on the brilliant setup to Leon Draisaitl in Game 2. Nugent Hopkins looking to contain down low along the end boards. and finally dug out and cleared up the left-hand side. Here's Carter Verhaeghe over the line and punched on net. A save made on Forsling, who had filled the lane coming down the middle. Lead pass down center ice, handled by Bobrovsky himself for Florida. And then Ekholm was able to hold the zone. Nugent Hopkins around the boards. Perry let it go through to Bouchard, who gets it back from Ekholm, moves to the high slot and shoots into the glove of Bobrovsky, who makes the save with 3 minutes and 17 seconds having elapsed in this first period. Marchand from Lundell, 56 seconds in, and Florida 1-0 lead in Game 3.
Well, it'll be important to see how Evander Kane, Leon Draisaitl, and Kasperi Kapanen bounce back after a tough 5v5 shift where the puck ended up in the net. And a different defense pairing out with them right now.
Tricky save made by Skinner against Forsling on that
was
last
a good
rush.
Opportunity. This is exactly what we thought we'd see from Florida. Very similar to Game 7 last year. They had a lot of jump early.
Off the face-off, Marchand hustles it through the middle, but we got a penalty coming against Florida for a trip.
Yep.
And the Panthers were moving through the neutral zone and got nailed for tripping. And I think it's going to be Lundell going to the box.
Well, this is part of Edmonton's game that has to improve. They're just 2 for 2 on the power play. And they're only +1 in goal differential on the power play because, of course, Brad Marchand scored a shorty. And Lundell is a good penalty killer for them, so that's an important guy out of the mix.
So Edmonton gets a power play. Now, the Oilers have scored in 7 straight games with a man advantage. 2 for 10 in this series, but as Bob mentioned, a killer shorthanded goal against in Game 2. Off the faceoff, hammered by Ekblad off the glass, and Bouchard was smart there. He shouldered that out of play, but the officials are still going to say neutral zone faceoff. Bouchard tried to say, hey, that never left the zone, and now the Oilers are really frustrated with this call. Bouchard is saying, I'm standing inside the line. I'm the one who put it out of play with my left shoulder, and if I'm inside the line, how can that be ruled a neutral zone faceoff? And they're going to talk about it. And they're moving it back in. So Bouchard, in a rare situation where you win the argument. So McDavid and Perry line up in the slot. Draisaitl on the face-off dot to the right of Bobrovsky. Bouchard at the point. Nugent Hopkins on the half wall. This is an Atco Energy power play. Atco, your trusted Alberta retailer. And Draisaitl wins it cleanly. Nugent Hopkins back to Bouchard as the Oilers look to tie the game. Bouchard to McDavid, centering pass broken up. McDavid gets it right back. Flips out to Evan Bouchard, and then down low for McDavid. Steered to Leon Draisaitl, off to Bouchard. McDavid loading up left circle. Nugent Hopkins tried to give it back to him, and it was poked free and down the ice. Draisaitl and Corey Perry, the team leaders on the power play in the playoffs, with 4 goals each. Here's McDavid, left to right, gaining the line. Pulls up, right circle, knocked off his stick. Draisaitl is there with support on the half wall. Double teamed. Club back to the line by Mikkola, but held in by Bouchard. Slide step to the right and off to Draisaitl. Down low to McDavid, coming off the goal line. McDavid a shot and a save. Bobrovsky. Rebound, Nugent Hopkins curled back to Bouchard. A slapper, redirected and a save. Bobrovsky. Rebound swatted away from Draisaitl. Kept alive by McDavid. Right point, no stick for a Florida player. That's 5-on-3.5. No stick, no stick. Here's McDavid, jitterbugging, centering, a shot, a save, rebound, Nugent Hopkins, and that stayed out. McDavid will track it down left point. Crossing for Bouchard, top of the right circle. Curled back to Nugent Hopkins. McDavid, top of the left circle, still off 5-on-3.5. Bouchard steps in between circles, shoots, and that stayed out and climbed out of play. Huge break for Florida. Bobrovsky had no idea where that shot from Bouchard was going, but he got a deflection in front, and even better for the Panthers, it climbed over the plexi.
Well, Chris Knobloch will tell you, despite the fact that the power play is just 2 for 10, they're getting lots of chances. I mean, a point-blank look for McDavid and a great left pad save, and then Nugent Hopkins couldn't bag the rebound.
Yeah, I think that was heading wide, although it might have ticked off Bobrovsky's glove. Now Adam Henrique out for the final 30 seconds of this Atco power play with Kane, Arvidsson, Klingberg, and Wallman. And remember, Wallman, like Bouchard, can really shoot it from a point. He's unhappy with the ice in the high slot as the puck is dropped, snapped by Kane cross ice, held in by Wallman. He'll work it down low to Arvidsson. Wide open. Klingberg a drive. Redirected and a save made on Henrique by Bobrovsky. Anticipated it and got it with the right pad. Klingberg snapped it back to Wallman. This second power play unit really moving it. Wallman. And now a penalty. Kane jostling with Forsling in front. And he's going to be sent off by Francis Chiron, and he is really unhappy with this call. Power play was just about over. 9 seconds of 4-on-4 coming. Let's get the call.
Edmonton, number 91, minor penalty for cross-checking.
Cross-check against Evander Kane. And Kane is not a guy... Well, that's the cross-check. They just showed it on the Jumbotron. Now, typically, he is not a guy who will spend a lot of time arguing with officials, despite the fact he's off at a target. But that was
a huge kill here for the Oilers.
That was well earned. Well, right now it's 4-on-4 for 9 seconds, and then Lundell will sprint out of the box. Henrique against Sam Bennett, 4-on-4, won the faceoff cleanly. Bouchard to Ekholm, and it's rimmed off the left-hand glass and out. Nugent-Hopkins is the other member of the Oilers on the ice. Bennett will carry it back in, top of the right circle. A shot and a glove save made by Stuart Skinner against the hottest man in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the man who leads the league with 13 playoff goals. Draisaitl is second with 10. 5 1/2 gone by in this first period. The Oilers already 8 shots on net, but they trail 1-0. And Florida on the power play. This is a Napa Auto Parts penalty kill for the Oilers. 66% for the playoffs.
This is their second unit out here.
And we've seen this before, though. You've got Bennett, Marchand, and Verhaeghe on a second unit. That's a luxury that few teams can say they have. Off the draw, it's cleared by the Oilers, though. Nate Schmidt back in his own end. Nugent-Hopkins and Henrique have been changed out for Janmark and Brown. Pressure up the ice. Panthers gain the line. Here's Marchand, turned it over, and it's an easy clear for Janmark. Only got it back as far as center, and Verhaeghe will slam it back in for the Florida Panthers. Left for Kulak, and the Panthers were lingering. That's an offside whistled against Florida, and a faceoff will come all the way back to the other end. Or are they going to drop it neutral?
Well, the Oilers are not happy.
Yeah, I thought they were going to call that a deliberate offside and bring it all the way back into the Florida end. For now, it looks like the face-off dot just outside the blue line.
That cost Edmonton a full clear. They had to tag back up on side.
Now they're going to drop it at center, so they decide to split the difference. And it's Barkov with Florida's top unit out there. The Panthers, in the last 2 Stanley Cup finals prior to this one, 1 for 35 on the power play. And as Bob mentioned, in this series, 2 for 6. Errant pass, Barkov to Reinhart, held in by Seth Jones. Played a fine game in Game 2 and scored a goal. Barkov tried to chip it back to the point. No one home. Miscommunication there. McDavid and Kapanen will change, as will Nurse and Kulak. Janmark and Brown back out there for Florida, along with Ekholm and Bouchard. Matthew Tkachuk over the line, left wing, centered, and missing a sitter was Sam Reinhart. And it's been that kind of series for Reinhart. Here's a wrist shot that was deflected wide. That was a beautiful look, and Reinhart missed an open net. Reinhart again in the slot. Gives it up for Seth Jones. Hesitates, wanders down, top of the left circle. Kicks it back for Ekblad. Jones in the corner to Ekblad. Jones, left half boards, high slot. Reinhart, one time in front by Tkachuk, and Barkov didn't get much of a shot off. Little half nudge that Stuart Skinner easily swallows up with 23 seconds left in this Napa Auto Parts penalty kill.
Should be 2-0. Edmonton's lucky. Henrique had a great chance. McDavid had a great chance on their power play for Edmonton, but
Reinhart, that's a tap in. And he has just struggled mightily in this final. Missed a breakaway.
The Oilers got to stop that seam. They've been able to crack the seam on Edmonton multiple times here.
Got a power play goal in Game 1, courtesy of a seam pass to Brad Marchand. And there it was again. Almost 7 minutes deep in this first period. 1-0 Florida off the draw. Trickles right at Skinner's feet, and he'll freeze it again. Still 21 seconds left in the cross-checking minor assessed to Evander Kane. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you on our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. High atop Amerant Bank Arena, home of the Florida Panthers and the Stanley Cup champions. Edmonton trying to unseat Florida. Off the draw. Jones to Ekblad. Snapshot. Save. Skinner. Rebound. Hammered down the ice by Brett Kulak. And that will do it for the Florida power play. Sam Reinhart missing a tap-in off a brilliant feed from Matthew Tkachuk. Verhaeghe will flick it into the zone. Kane comes charging out of the box. 5-on-5. Kulak a turnover. And now Bennett with a handoff from Marchand. Then tried to flip it in front for Verhaeghe. And the Oilers a little flirting with disaster action. But Draisaitl got it ahead for McDavid. Bottled up by Mikkola as he hit the Florida line. Lead pass too far for Bennett. And that's going to be icing against the Panthers with 12.5 to go in the first period. Edmonton has outshot Florida 9-5. But it's the Panthers who lead it 1-0. Brad Marchand in the game's first minute from Anton Lundell. And now Kane stays out there with McDavid and Draisaitl for a 5-on-5 shift in the Florida zone. Nurse and Klingberg paired together by Paul Coffey. Friday was the first time in the Stanley Cup playoffs that the Oilers lost when out shooting their opponent. Outshot Florida 46-42. They'd been 11-0. That was their first defeat. Here's McDavid to John Klingberg. He'll gain the line and send it off the glove of Gustav Forsling. Game one, of course, the Oilers rallied from a third-period deficit. First time that had happened under Paul Maurice in Florida. Now we've got another penalty. Did a stick get up high?
Well, Marchand snapped his head back to draw the call. He's saying he's leaking. This might be 4.
Kane again. Evander Kane, who just got out of the box. Then an offensive zone faceoff.
Edmonton number 91, Monterpelli, high sticking.
Just a 2. But when we come back, Florida already with a 1-0 lead in Game 3. We'll go to the power play for the Oilers. A crucial Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Brad Marchand is given the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers a 1-0 lead. This is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final at Ford Dealers NHL.
Time 0 hours 26 minutes.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app. This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Evander Kane in the box once again, this time for high sticking. And the Oilers have already killed one penalty. Will have to do so again here in the first period. Third power play of the hockey game, and we're inside 8 minutes. And, of course, there were 10 power plays the other night in a double overtime classic at Rogers Place where Florida prevailed to even this series at a game apiece. The pivotal Game 3. And off the draw, Henrique will locate Bouchard on the far side. Racing over, Seth Jones holds the zone, and then a great interception by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who looks none the worse for wear as he picks off that pass in the slot and sends it the length of the ice. He'll change along with Henrique. Brown and Janmark back on for the Oilers to join Nurse and Kulak, your Napa Auto Parts foursome. Centering pass from Barkov. Kept alive by Aaron Ekblad in the high slot. Curls it over. Seth Jones snapped it down low. Matthew Tkachuk gives it up. Barkov took his eye off it. Boy, he is struggling offensively in this series. Able to regain Seth Jones. One touch ahead for Sam Reinhart, who missed a point-blank tap-in on the last Florida power play. Here he's able to fish it off of Janmark, get it out to the high slot, and it's sent down low for Barkov. Nurse blasts him against the corner boards. An attempted clear by Janmark does not succeed, and for the moment the Panthers will keep it alive. Tkachuk thought he was cross-checked, not called. Ekblad over to Seth Jones, and Ekblad shovels it down low for Reinhart. Now Tkachuk steps in, shoots, and a save made by Skinner. Awkward angle right circle. Ekblad on the rebound, out to the point, held in by Sam Reinhart. That was a good play at the line, but now Ekblad under duress, double teamed, and it's dug out by Kulak and cleared by Janmark. Florida power play inside 25 seconds. 10.5 to go in the first period. 1-0 Florida on a goal by Brad Marchand with an assist to Anton Lundell. Here come the Panthers. Slid ahead by Rodriguez. Turned over by Brad Marchand. Here comes Connor McDavid. Kapanen joins the rush. McDavid had his pocket picked. Cleared ahead for Sam Bennett. He waits. He gains the line. Bennett dropped it off. Open man. Shot Rodriguez. And a save made. Broken stick Marchand. That might have caught Marchand's stick as he came into Stuart Skinner. And Edmonton has killed off another Florida power play. Still a 1-0 game. Put Colson flashing through the middle. And we've got a hand pass whistle. No, or we got a penalty or too many men.
I think it's too many men on Edmonton. I think they caught him here.
Too many men on Edmonton?
I think that's going to be the call.
Edmonton, bench rider penalty, too many men on the ice.
Good call, partner. 9:51 to go in the first. And Florida, midway through the first period, about to get its third power play. Couple of unforced errors. This one, too many men against the Edmonton Oilers. And the Panthers back on the man advantage. When we return to Sunrise, Florida, it's Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final in Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Recording resumed. NHL settings and cockpit control.
9:51 remaining first period. The Florida Panthers with a 1-0 lead on a goal by Brad Marchand. His 8th of the playoffs from Anton Lundell.
New selection made 0-0 840 and 26 points.
For Florida, Edmonton has had one as well. Barkov against Henrique, who won the draw for the Oilers, and it's drilled down the right-hand side by Evan Bouchard. This time, a too many men on the ice penalty being served by Corey Perry.
Oilers need to settle down, Jack.
Brown and Yanmark out there on the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Bouchard opposite Ekholm. Shotted by Ekblad. Skinner left it in the corner. Barkov and Kachuk pursuing. Battling Kachuk, trying to dig it out of the skates of Connor Brown. Wrestled free by Ekholm and up the middle and pass. A lunging Seth Jones. Bobrovsky punches it in quickly. Jones to Kachuk. He'll step back into the offensive zone. Kick it back for Jones. Top of the left circle. Half flubbed that pass, and Kachuk in turn gave it away to Kulak. It's an easy clear for Kapanen. And rifled down the right-hand side, and now Ekblad will be whistled for a trip on the backside of the play, and that'll be all. Are guilty of their second tripping penalty of the game, and this one leads to a 4-on-4 situation where the Oilers, for the most part, have thrived, including Evan Bouchard's goal in the first period of Game 2.
But you can see what Chris Knobloch's thinking here. He's going to put out Henrique and Arvidsson and save McDavid and Draisaitl for the power play.
Minute 7 of 4-on-4.
One mix one select. Edit, select, menu item. Tracking table, one mix one.
I take it you're surprised.
That was a penalty, yeah.
Start 0-0-8-0.
Three of the Oilers have taken, they've earned.
Wallman and Klingberg. And a face-off win. Adam Henrique. Wallman will send it down low. Arvidsson let it go through. That's going to be picked up in the corner by Carter Verhaeghe. He got double-teamed, lost the puck, and the Oilers look to maintain. This is a 4-on-4, remember. No power play. Finally gained by Sam Bennett. And he'll come off the right half boards with a feed to Dmitry Kulikov, who gains the line, worked it down low. Bennett will ride Klingberg against the board center. Open man, Nate Schmidt. The pass was a tough one. Bennett fought back to get the puck, and then all Schmidt could do was tuck it back into the corner. Retrieved by Klingberg and then sent across for Wallman. A dangerous play because Verhaeghe was lingering, picked it off down low, and Bell desperately lunging toward that puck could only deflect it wide. Got it back, forcing a shot and a blocked shot by McDavid, and here come the Oilers. McDavid's lead pass for Draisaitl was intercepted, so they go to McDavid and Draisaitl with about 15 seconds left in the 4-on-4, anticipating the power play. Lundell, in the meantime, will gain the line before being bulldozed off the puck by Draisaitl. Then he went down. No penalty was called. Perry steps out of the box, and Edmonton indeed on an Atco Energy power play. Beautiful look by McDavid. Shot Bouchard. Save Bobrovsky. Rebound. Worked up the left hand. And out by Brad Marchand. Some kind of look from McDavid to Bouchard. McDavid 5 assists in this series and in the Stanley Cup final. 16 points in 9 games. Only Merrill Lemieux higher points per game average. Here's McDavid in the right corner. Tried to work it inside. Broken up and cleared by Seth Jones. 20 seconds left in the 5-on-4.
100 volume next.
Presented by Alberta's trusted retailer, Atco Energy. Oilers, one more chance here. Klingberg up the right-hand side. Draisaitl flipped it ahead. McDavid right circle, cut inside. Couldn't get a shot away. Knocked away from Klingberg and shoveled up the boards and out by Jones. And Ekblad sprints out of the penalty box. The teams are a combined 0 for 5 on the power play in Game 3. And we've barely played 13 minutes. Darnell Nurse, Lundell pressuring up ice along with Lou Ostarinen. Nurse will flash it around the boards. Mikkola will shovel it down low. Lundell won a battle. Got away from Nurse, and then Klingberg. Anton Lundell in the corner. Centers deflected and then backhanded wide. A decent look for Jonah Gadjevich off balance. A.J. Greer in on the forecheck as Podkolzin takes the hit to make the play. Gustav Forsling wheels back into his own end to pick it up. Greer will shoot it around the boards after being hit by Podkolzin. And Draisaitl blasted by Bennett, who has the puck, tried to center, glanced off the side of the net. Intended target was Gadjevich, wasn't there. Draisaitl to Podkolzin up through center. He'll shoot it in. Bobrovsky knocks it down. 6 minutes to play, opening frame. 1-0 Florida. Brad Marchand, the game's only goal. Shot in by Dmitry Kulikov. Tkachuk ridden off the puck. Won a battle with Wallman. Centering pass, one-timer to save made. Rodriguez was open in the slot. He has just one goal in the entirety of the Stanley Cup playoffs. He had 4 in the final. Here's a lead pass of Evander Kane. Got behind Forsling and a shot into the glove of Sergei Bobrovsky and out of play. Kane hit the heel of Bobrovsky's glove. Another key save by the Florida starter. And with 5:32 to go in the first period, and that puck having exited the playing surface, will take timeout. The Panthers won. Edmonton 0. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final continues in just a moment as it's Ford Dealers. NHL hockey live from Sunrise, Florida. The Oilers Radio Network.
N00, star 0080. Sound report. More options. Pause.
Booth, a face-off win for Henrique. A shot by Brown. Trickles wide on a deflection. Rebound pitchforked out by Tkachuk. We've got another penalty coming. And it's going to be a high stick.
They're checking to see if Brown's leaking.
Yeah, this is on Florida. And the parade to the box continues. Sam Bennett will go for Florida. Time 14:37.
Floor over 9, minor penalty, ice sticking.
2 minutes for high sticking Sam Bennett. And the Oilers, like Florida, a third power play in this first period. Boy, we've seen last couple of games, and Game 2 still had a lot of rhythm and flow despite all the power plays. But yet another man advantage off the draw. Clean win for Florida, and that's whistled down the left-hand glass and out by Forsling. Bouchard back to collect for Edmonton. Back pass to Draisaitl, trailed by McDavid. Draisaitl at center will deal off to McDavid. Breaks in. Lost the handle, then recovered in the corner and swept it around for Leon Draisaitl. Top of the right circle, fed Bouchard at the point. Open is Nugent-Hopkins, left side to McDavid. Net front presence is Corey Perry. McDavid elects to go Nugent-Hopkins, high slot Bouchard. No stick for a moment for Barkov. Shot McDavid, save Bobrovsky. Rebound available, and then punched to the corner by Sam Reinhart. Draisaitl back on it for Edmonton. Reinhart pressure. Draisaitl threw it back to Bouchard. McDavid in the meantime had gotten a new stick. Draisaitl sets up Perry. A brief bobble against Forsling, so he'll guide it back to McDavid, top of the right circle. Bouchard in the high slot, looks for a lane. McDavid with Draisaitl lingering. Bouchard, top of the circles. Shot, deflected. Wound up against the far corner boards. McDavid turned it inside. Barkov broke it up. McDavid won a battle. Here's Corey Perry, drag move through Forsling, who's down and out. But it was poked off Perry's stick. Recovered by Draisaitl. Bouchard, high slot. McDavid, top of the left circle. Barkov goes at him. A centering pass deflected in front. Perry digging. Still loose. McDavid first on it against Barkov. Won another battle. Here's Bouchard walking the line. 20 seconds left on the power play. Bouchard a one-timer, and that was blocked. Rebound wound up in the corner. Draisaitl snapped it back to Bouchard. Over to McDavid, left circle. Waiting, centering, and that was deflected away from Draisaitl. A lunging play by Bouchard keeps the zone. Draisaitl to McDavid to the middle, and no one home. The top unit and the penalty killing unit for Florida were out against one another for 2 full minutes. The Oilers had some looks, but the Panthers survive, and their 1-0 lead remains intact. Quarterbacking is Wallman. Missed Henrique. Icing Edmonton as Jones back to create the whistle with 3:10 to go in the first period. Shots on goal, 11-8 Edmonton. Let's look at the Edmonton power play, Bob. What have you seen on their first 3 efforts?
I think they got I realize you're playing a really good penalty. This is the best penalty killing unit in the league in the playoffs.
Correct.
They're pressuring Edmonton. You cannot pass off shot opportunities. You get a chance to put that pillow on the goal, you got to, and you got to attack the net with chaos. They haven't done that enough.
Better than 87% in the playoffs, 81% in the regular season, which was 10th in the league for Florida. Off the draw, sharp angle shot, Tkachuk. That climbed up near the mask of Stuart Skinner before the rebound cleared by Adam Henrique. Seth Jones back in his own zone. Kane will run him off the puck. Henrique is there with support. Centering pass and just missing Arvidsson. Bowled into Bobrovsky, and that's going to be another penalty. Bobrovsky has drawn a goaltender interference call against Victor Arvidsson, and now Tkachuk and Kane might take one another off. Does Wes McCauley even this up? I thought I saw him make a roughing indication as well as the goaltender interference. Let's see whether it's one each side.
I think it'll be a minor Arvidsson.
I'm not sure a power play is coming here.
I think there's going to be a power play. It's only going to be Arvidsson.
33 Edmonton's got a minor and goalie interference.
That's it. McCauley had the roughing, the fist up. But indeed, this is just a power play for Florida. Arvidsson caught a healthy chunk of Sergei Bobrovsky. And now the Panthers leading 1-0. Entering the final 3 minutes of this first period, will get a 4th power play opportunity. Napa Auto Parts penalty kill will be Henrique, who takes the face-off to the right of Skinner. Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, and Ekholm. Bennett won the face-off, stepping up, a slapper, and that was deflected. Schmidt could not get it through. Rodriguez able to gain, give it up for Schmidt. Verhaeghe high slot, saucered over to Rodriguez, top of the left circle. He settles the puck and then steps in. That puck's bouncing around. Again, the ice conditions a little questionable. No surprise, mid-June in southern Florida. Here's a shot deflected, high slot. Sam Bennett will keep it alive. Off the boards to Schmidt. Snapped in front. Rodriguez to Verhaeghe. Shot, score! 2-0 Florida. Power play goal. Carter Verhaeghe.
Well, Carter Verhaeghe has been a clutch player for the Florida Panthers. And just a great pickup by this organization. And that time he beat Skinner Heidel a blocker side. It's a great shot.
He's got 5 overtime winners in the playoffs, matching Corey Perry and Brad Marchand. But I've got to say, Evan Rodriguez in the Stanley Cup final against Edmonton has been a key player, and that was a good look.
Yeah, it was a great shot. And right now, that's the shot Edmonton's not getting on their PK, on their power play.
Marchand pointing at his head as he looked at the Edmonton bench after that power play goal was converted. Here come the Oilers off the draw. A shot by Jake Wallman and a save made by Sergei Bobrovsky. Rebound, Barkov, the Florida captain. Up the middle, Reinhart, soft chip ahead, a little out of the reach of Verhaeghe. And thus settled down by Edmonton. Nate Schmidt will collect his 5th point of the series, Bob. And an offside whistled against Edmonton as Perry and Forsling glare at one another with 1:45 to go in the first period. And it's curious, you know, in these long playoff runs, who emerges. And Nate Schmidt, Bob, has been a wild card that you and I could not have possibly anticipated as a third pairing, second power play unit guy. Nate Schmidt has been impressive.
Well, Edmonton had a pretty, in spite of the early goal against, the Oilers had a good start to this game, and then it got unraveled
The shots were 9-4 Edmonton at one point.
Too many penalties. And then the Oilers' power play hasn't done a thing.
Florida converting its fourth power play opportunity. We've had 7 in the first period. Gadjevich wires it in. And now I think each team would like to settle into some 5-on-5 rhythm and flow. A steal by McDavid ahead, Podkolzin will take a lead pass from Brett Kulak, and that's shot in deep where Bobrovsky will handle it off the left-hand glass, and it's sent ahead by A.J. Greer. Out of the reach of Gadjevich. Nurse for Edmonton locates the end mark and takes a return pass at center ice. Gains the line with a shot, and he had Bobrovsky going the other way but missed the net. Rebound Podkolzin. Frederick finishing his check. Nurse has wandered down low, threw it off the backside of the net. Taken by Podkolzin, brushed off his stick. Kulikov battling for control, and eventually gained one more time by Nate Schmidt and dropped off to Greer. Line change for Edmonton. Henrique and Brown flood the offensive zone. Marchand looked to back out of the zone, got it out, and then Evander Kane walked it back in offside with 42 seconds remaining. Darnell Nurse's parents, Brian and Kathy. Connor McDavid's parents, Brian, I said Richard and Kathy. I was thinking Brian and Kelly. Both making their way around the suffocating South Florida heat this afternoon on their way to the game. Bouchard will pound it in. Number of parents coming down. Obviously, Stanley Cup final. Everyone wants to be a part of it. Here's a draw won by Edmonton. A stick exploding on Matthias Ekholm, and the Panthers able to clear through the neutral zone. Ekholm gets a new stick. Bouchard up to Connor Brown. Final 20 seconds. Ekholm will step up against Seth Jones and drive it in deep. Clean sheet thus far for Sergei Bobrovsky. 2-0 Florida. Seth Jones an attempted clear. Brown bottled up by Marchand. Here's Luo Storinen breaking out with 6 seconds. He'll be sure to get it in deep, forcing Stuart Skinner to handle this puck. A hard rim up the glass from the point. A snapshot and a save made by Skinner at the horn. And a little crowding by Lundell, and now Ekholm wants a piece of him. But Tkachuk. Edmonton's got to be careful
Kane's
here.
Trying to go after Tkachuk here.
Kane going after Matthew Tkachuk. Mikkola in the mix. Evander Kane still trying to get at Matthew Tkachuk and mocking him a bit. 2-0 Florida. And really at this stage, the Panthers probably don't want to get involved in this. The Oilers frustrated, and now Connor Brown, of all people, giving Niko Mikkola the business. He's really unhappy with Mikkola. And ultimately, the players pry it apart. And I'm not sure McCauley and Sharon are going to talk about it. I didn't see any penalties signaled as of yet. We'll sort it out. Now these two teams still at center ice. It was Perry and Gadjevich yelling at one another. Frederick immediately enters the fray, and now the referees will confer with the respective captains.
We might have something here in the second period. Like I can
Markov.
Yeah. Anyways, the bottom line here is Florida had a great period, and Edmonton did not. Florida got the early jump. Who else? Brad Marchand.
Well, you didn't mind the Oilers 5-on-5. The problem was there was no 5-on-5 play.
Right. Yep. And the Oilers' power play right now isn't going, and it needs to get going for them to have a chance.
Perry finally leaves the ice as these two teams have, over the course of the last 2 years, built up a healthy dislike for one another. And we talked about it coming in. In 9 periods of play, Bob, they'd been separated by more than 1 goal for all of 77 seconds. Well, this is easily the first time a club has had a 2-goal lead after the first period.
Edmonton missed their opportunities in both games to build on leads, Jack. You know, like 3-2, they had the lead, and they got a 5-on-3 late in the second period, or late in the first period, didn't score, and then the 2 chances for Bouchard early in the second. Tonight, Edmonton's power play it's just been a bad matchup against Florida. Getting back to last year's Stanley Cup final, it was not good enough. I know it got better as the series wore on. And again, that
was it, 3 for 24?
It's not good enough.
Right.
Like it's
not when you're counting on your power play to be at least between 23 and 27%.
It was 0 for 1 in Game 7. You can make an argument they didn't get enough opportunities. If they score a power play in Game 7, we're playing an overtime game. Edmonton's got to play a lot better. That was Florida's period. The Oilers seem agitated. Florida's...
MIC, your choice. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, the game doesn't stop for injury. MIC's sports medicine imaging specialists can help you get back in the game with a timely and expert diagnosis. Go where the pros go. For a location near you, visit mic.ca.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Oilers 50-50, of course, back for the Stanley Cup playoffs. The early bird prizing remains outstanding. It's just pure, cold, hard cash tonight. $5,000 and $10,000. You got to love that. And your playoff jackpot for the Oilers 50-50.
More options. Pause button.
Holy cow.
Loading. Apparently we're on dial-up here in Florida, but
here we go.
Bottom line is it's an Edmonton power play. Jackpot currently $1.5 million, and the playoff bonus jackpot is almost $9 million. Now, Anton Lundell got a roughing minor at the end of that first period, so this is the fourth Edmonton power play of the hockey game, and it starts with Draisaitl winning a face-off back to Jake Wallman. So Wallman is on the ice with Bouchard as they switched it up. No Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Perry, and Draisaitl, and a 2D look on the power play. So a different look and a turnover by the Florida Panthers, Tomas Nosek. Wallman fires a pass to Bouchard. He'll get it back. We saw these two on the ice when the Oilers needed a late game-tying goal on Friday. Wallman, drag move against Forsling. Deals. One-timer ripped by Bouchard. Save made. And Ekblad able to clear through the middle past the outstretched Evan Bouchard. So Glenn Gullickson making a personnel adjustment and going with two D-men on the power play. McDavid brings it into the offensive zone. Draisaitl, high slot. Wallman fumbled it away. Rifled down the ice by Ekblad. And that'll come off the corner boards and drops at Skinner's feet. He'll direct a pass to Bouchard under pressure in his own end. Down to a minute left in this Atco Energy power play. Opening minute gone by. Second period. Florida 2, Edmonton nothing. Nugent Hopkins back on the ice. Dishes off to Corey Perry left wing. Crosses, and that's deflected. Grabbed by Bouchard, now joined by Ekholm up top. Perry has come off, and Nugent Hopkins takes a pass from Ekholm deep in the left circle. Returns to Ekholm. Skates to the high slot. Switches positions with Bouchard. Right circle, Draisaitl. We've got no Connor McDavid on the power play unit. Shot by Bouchard, ripped home by Corey Perry, and the Oilers get a power play goal without Connor McDavid on the ice. It's Perry who scores on the man advantage, and the Oilers whittle the deficit to 2-1. Corey Perry with his 9th of the playoffs and 5th on the power play.
My apologies, Jack. I was trying to look for Connor out there, McDavid. And Perry
pounced on a loose puck. Bouchard shot it. And Perry outfoxed Seth Jones for puck possession and scores at 1:40. So the Oilers gifted a power play late, able to take advantage without Connor McDavid on the ice. And the ageless Corey Perry with the 63rd goal of his Stanley Cup playoff career. And that matches Brad Marchand. Both have 63 goals. Here's Rodriguez, tripped up by Darnell Nurse into the offensive zone for the Florida Panthers. He'll swing it back to Kulikov. So 2-1 our score. Corey Perry, power play goal for Edmonton. Kulikov shovels it down low. You've got Bennett dishing off. Shot from distance by Schmidt, ends up wide. Here's Tkachuk. Tried to slide it to the corner. Centering pass, Schmidt mashes it toward the net, and Skinner knocked off balance. Tkachuk was ruled to have been pushed into him, and the outlet pass completed to Darnell Nurse, who sounds a two-bouncer just wide of Sergei Bobrovsky. Rebound, battled for, and ultimately controlled by Sam Bennett. Up the left-hand side, and quickly Greer put it into the Oiler bench. 2 minutes and 39 seconds having elapsed in period 2, and the Oilers have cut the deficit to 2-1. A power play goal for Corey Perry at age 40 continuing.
A little bit of rough stuff
the back
after
of the net. Yeah, some token pushing and shoving. Won't have any penalties. And
Frederick going after Bennett.
I'll tell you what, though. Florida's propensity for taking penalties has kept Edmonton afloat in this game.
Well, I mean, the Oilers weren't exactly the most disciplined team themselves in the first period.
But now both teams are 1 for 4 on the power play.
And McDavid is back on the ice here in between Kane. And I think that's Kapanen on the far side.
Face-off win for Barkov. It is indeed Kapanen, Kane, McDavid's wingers. And a high toss through the middle. McDavid, of course, didn't play the back half of that power play. Perry did.
I think it was a skate.
And so did Nugent Hopkins. Here's Klingberg up the right-hand side. Well, obviously no injury as Klingberg dropped by Barkov. Chance for Reinhart, and he scores. And Sam Reinhart needed that desperately. Put it upstairs on Stuart Skinner, and Florida regains a 2-goal lead. That's Reinhart's first of the series and 5th of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, the Oilers needed a stop there from Stuart Skinner. Just a quick turnover and shot right through the legs of Jake Wallman. It was going to be a tough pickup, and unfortunately Skinner couldn't track it. But John Klingberg got walled on the play. Got taken to the ice. And a quick little interior pass, and it's in the net.
Sam Reinhart's first goal since Game 7 of the Toronto series. Remember, he was injured on a questionable hit by Sebastian Aho in the Eastern Conference Final against Carolina. Off the draw, a quick shot, and we suspect he's not at full strength. The Oilers look to answer on the 5-on-5 shift following the goal. A blast by Ekholm, left wing, set up by Draisaitl, missed the net. Lundell looking for Marchand. He'll send it off the right corner board, sifted into the corner by goaltender Stuart Skinner. Here's Ekholm. Devin Bouchard in a reset for Edmonton. Oilers coming right to left in period 2. They're in the white, Florida in the red. Draisaitl hits the line. Lost the handle, then regained on his backhand. Puck forced up the boards. Kulak will try to hold the zone. Edmonton's got a tag back onside as it did escape the zone. So the Florida Panthers take advantage of the Oiler turnover in their own end, and Reinhart puts one upstairs on Stuart Skinner. Verhaeghe will get the primary assist on the scoring play. Nugent Hopkins staggers his way into the offensive zone. Corey Perry dishing off, looking for McDavid as that top line reunited now. With the play having settled down and back into a 5-on-5 rhythm. Here's Aaron Ekblad up through center. He'll shoot it in. 4.5 minutes into the second period. The teams have swapped goals. And Florida retains a 2-goal lead. Led 2-0 after one. Perry, a power play goal to bring the Oilers within 2-1. And an immediate response by Sam Reinhart a minute 20 after the Perry goal went in. Wallman quarterbacking for the Oilers. Behind the Edmonton net. He'll drop it off for Connor Brown. Swiftly down the left wing. He'll attack Mikkola. Brown gets through Mikkola. Knocked off his stick. A.J. Greer pursuing up top. Bouchard, a shot, does not make its way through. And Gadjevich with a clear safely back to the red line. Darnell Nurse, a strike right-hand side. And Brown will put it back into the Florida zone. Henrique, a powerful hit on Mikkola. And now Gadjevich comes over to help out his defenseman, who eventually tosses it over to Nate Schmidt. Ample time to clear, and he does. Shoveling ahead for A.J. Greer, stood up by Bouchard at the Edmonton line. Darnell Nurse on the puck for the Oilers, and he'll flip it behind off a stanchion. A backhander to save made by Stuart Skinner. Rebound Trent Frederick. Florida almost got a friendly bounce off the stanchion and into the slot, but Skinner able to make the save. Wristed down deep by Seth Jones. Carter Verhaeghe gives way to Barkov. Puts the brakes on against Matthias Janmark. He'll send it down low for Verhaeghe, who just assisted on the Reinhart goal and now set up Reinhart, trying to go backdoor to Barkov. That was broken up, and then Kulikov shot wide from the top of the left circle. Verhaeghe a shot right circle and a save made by Skinner. Rebound down to one knee, Sam Reinhart. Regain the puck for Seth Jones. A wrist shot towed aside by Skinner. Rebound Reinhart. He'll keep it down low for Verhaeghe, and all of a sudden Florida has Edmonton in a bit of a spin cycle, but that's broken up by Darnell Nurse and wristed down low by Kapanen. On net, Bobrovsky guides it to the corner. Reinhart from Forsling, who took a punishing hit. Verhaeghe tried to shut off the rush that was swallowed up by Klingberg, and Florida will peel off on a line change as Victor Arvidsson with a burst of speed up the middle to Podkolzin. He was stymied by Aaron Ekblad, who now grapples with puck possession with Victor Arvidsson. Tripped up, Draisaitl nudged it free, but there was Eetu Luostarinen, who's been added as the secondary assist on the game's opening goal, registered by Brad Marchand in the game's first minute. Here's Klingberg up the gut, looking for Draisaitl. That was deflected. Play is offside. Retrieved by Luostarinen and dumped back in by Brad Marchand. He'll pursue against Skinner, who sends it over to Klingberg. Lead pass Draisaitl. Here come the Oilers right to left, cutting, and a big hit on Podkolzin. He was absolutely drilled. Draisaitl on the half wall at Sam Bennett. Couldn't get it out. Kept in by Podkolzin, who then turned it over. 2-on-0. And now a breakaway. In on net. Wrist shot score. Sam Bennett. 4-1 Florida. Bennett, his 14th of the playoffs and his 4th in this Stanley Cup final. That was going to be a 2-on-0, and Luostarinen just popped it ahead for Bennett, who broke in, deked back in, and went upstairs on the forehand and over Stuart Skinner.
Well, unfortunately, Vasily Podkolzin didn't make the simple play. And now the Oilers, who survived a couple tough shifts before that, they're in a world of hurt chasing right now.
7:26 time of the goal, and Florida has extended to a 4-1 lead. Aaron Ekblad, a high flip off the center ice draw, grabbed by Evan Bouchard. Had it and lost it. Panthers power their way into puck possession. Bouchard snatched it right back, tried to go up the gut. Here's Perry. Up the right-hand side, Connor McDavid. He'll dash in and get popped by Aaron Ekblad. Forsling with an attempted clear. Verhaeghe there to help him out. And now Lundell, they're going to give him center ice generously. Swings it in deep. Retrieved by Ekholm. Lead pass, Corey Perry. Back to McDavid. Perry has the only Edmonton goal. The return pass to him was off the mark. Gadjevich will bring it up through center and shoot it in for the Florida Panthers.
The Oilers need a momentum change.
Well, they've got McDavid out there against Florida's fourth line. Lead pass, Brown has been moved up now with Perry and McDavid. Again, we'll see that throughout tonight with Nugent Hopkins a little banged up. Gadjevich, impressive. A forecheck and a wrist to right upstairs, but missed high glove A.J. Greer. Cleared by the Oilers, fired back in from center by Gadjevich. Skinner put it on Jake Wallman. He'll take it behind the net as we approach the midway point of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida 4, Edmonton 1. Oilers got a power play goal early to climb within 2-1, but the Panthers have answered with 2, and now a puck cleared into the bench area with 11:03 remaining in the second period. The teams have split 30 shots on net, but Florida has 4 goals. Edmonton just 1. And we come back with more live coverage of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final in just a moment. The Oilers Radio Network.
Oilers playoff ticket giveaways are on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Plus $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light during every game. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Businesses deserve the best protection against cyber threats. Alltech offers state-of-the-art IT and cybersecurity solutions to safeguard digital assets. The team of experts at Alltech are dedicated to providing the highest level of security, ensuring that data remains safe and operations are seamless. With Alltech, businesses can focus on growth while the rest is handled. From advanced threat detection to comprehensive data security, Alltech has it covered. Choose Alltech for reliable and effective cybersecurity. Visit alt-tech.ca now to learn more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready.
Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge.
That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling. Patio season is on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Grab your crew, sip something cold, and hang out on the best patio in town. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett with second period goals to counteract a Corey Perry power play goal set up by Bouchard and Ekholm. Bouchard with his 22nd point of the series. Tied for third with Mikko Rantanen, who of course won't play any more games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, behind only Draisaitl and McDavid, who are on the ice together with Corey Perry. And at this point, with 31 minutes to go, Bob, there's no reason to expect McDavid and Draisaitl aren't going to be playing together 5-on-5 for the remainder of the game.
You have an extra day off in between the two games, game 3 and game 4.
Well, you're also down 3.
Yep.
You need to go to this option and hope to get back into it. Draisaitl just got away with a cross-check on Gustav Forsling. Pitchforked out of the zone by Sasha Barkov. Wristed down deep by Bouchard. I mean, that's as obvious a penalty as you can expect to get.
In the first period, that's a penalty.
Ekblad up the middle and then tossed in, and then a big hit by Corey Perry as he finishes Sam Reinhart. So the Oilers trying to ratchet up the physical play. In the meantime, McDavid jitterbugging his way in. He got belted by Ekblad. Here come the Panthers. Forsling tosses it off, gets it back off the pads of Stuart Skinner as Luostarinen tried to set up Forsling. Snapped back in by Seth Jones. And funneled down low for Marchand by Anton Lundell. Brad Marchand run off the puck. Corey Perry picks it up and in one motion fires a pass to Nugent-Hopkins. Over the line with Leon Draisaitl still out there. Draisaitl takes a pass. One-timer Klingberg redirected wide of Sergei Bobrovsky. Here's Seth Jones under duress up the right-hand side. Marchand did not get it out. Connor Brown to the middle, and that was paddled out of there by Anton Lundell. He looked like a center snapping a football between the wickets as he threw that puck out of the zone. And as it's flipped in by Evander Kane, Bobrovsky, knowing Florida's down a stick, will just stick that one in his hip pocket. With 9:44 to go in the second period, the Oilers have to settle for an offensive zone draw. They trail 4-1 in this hockey game. Florida 2 in the first, 2 in the second. As I mentioned early, Corey Perry with
McDavid's
the only goal, and McDavid's going off again and again. It's equipment related because I think I saw Jeff Lang in front of him.
Yeah.
So an equipment situation for McDavid for the second time in this game. We'll take a break. Our live coverage of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final on the Oilers Radio Network continuing in just a moment with the Florida Panthers leading Game 3 4-1 over Edmonton with 9:44 to play in period 2. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. You know, Alberta's a special place. From the Rockies to the Plains, it's a land of hard work and big dreams. If you're going to tackle it all, you need a truck that can keep up. That's why I can't say enough about my Ford F-150. It's more than a truck. It's a partner. Rugged toughness, serious capability, and smart features that make your life easier, like available Pro Power onboard. The Ford F-150. Get yours today at your Alberta Ford dealer and tell them PB sent you.
Did you know the Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us, the Brick, saving you more. Get ready to live sky high. Sky Signature Suites offers remarkable units for rent featuring sophisticated floor plans, designer finishes, and breathtaking views. Experience resort-like amenities including a full-time concierge, yoga and fitness studios, golf simulator, plus indoor and outdoor lounges for you to live your best life. Visit SkySignatureSuites.com and make your home high above the ordinary.
Adam Henrique lines up for a face-off against Tomas Nosek to the right of Bobrovsky and won it cleanly. Darnell Nurse walks the line, shoots on a blocker save. Big rebound by Bobrovsky as he paddled that out near the blue. Henrique in front, and Trent Frederick nearly able to slide that 5-hole on Bobrovsky. A steal by Kapanen. And this line looking sharp for Edmonton. A wrap around the boards, late getting there Klingberg, but he does hold the zone. And now Frederick to Henrique, a centering pass. Trickles in, a shot, and a save. Bobrovsky, the rebound available, and Bobrovsky able to freeze it. An excellent shift, however. Henrique, Frederick, and Kapanen. 9:16 to play, second period. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. And our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, Sergei Bobrovsky with that puck pinned against his left ribs as he made the save, coming out to challenge the attacking Darnell Nurse. I'm marking that one down. I liked that line of Henrique, Frederick, and Kapanen. Something to keep in mind as this game progresses.
David's back out
with Kane and Draisaitl as Chris Knobloch looks for an offensive zone face-off here that he can capitalize on. McDavid twice tonight has dealt with an equipment issue. Once on a power play where the Oilers ultimately scored on it. And then as we sent you to the last break, McDavid went down the tunnel again with head equipment manager Jeff Lang. Draisaitl to take the face-off against Barkov. Left side of Bobrovsky, and it comes free. Carter Verhaeghe. A lot of people speculating that maybe the Ekblad hit had something to do with McDavid's departure. But when Jeff Lang leaves, you know it's equipment related. Here's Sam Reinhart. Gets it back from Verhaeghe. Takes it behind the net. Reinhart got off the schneid in this series earlier. A backhand wraparound, a save made. Rebound Barkov. And that was blocked. And now Draisaitl takes control off a feed from Jake Wallman. He'll look for a lead pass. McDavid. Forsling is back. McDavid poked off his stick. Good play by Gustav Forsling. And a clear by Sam Reinhart. Inside the line, Wallman fires a pass to Draisaitl, tried to put it between the wickets of Lundell. Kane, a strong forecheck, created a turnover by Ekblad. McDavid to Draisaitl. Knocked off his stick for a moment by Reinhart. Swept around the boards. Ekholm steps up, a blast, and a glove save made by Bobrovsky. And now more rough stuff from Kane. He gets into the grill of Gustav Forsling. 8:21 to go in the second period. Florida's lead remains 4-1.
Yep. I agree. Got to dig in. This game being played. I mean, Florida's been the better team, even though the Oilers are out shooting them marginally. The goals are 3-0 at even strength in this game, Jack.
Verhaeghe and Perry power play goals. Marchand, Reinhart, and Bennett on the board 5-on-5, which of course has been Edmonton's strength, especially on the road. They came in their last 7 road playoff games having given up just 7 goals 5-on-5. Well, they've given up 3 tonight. Bouchard, a wrist shot. That flew wide of Bobrovsky. Rebound careened off the boards. Here's Ekholm. He'll pound it back down low. Matthias Janmark lost the handle. Rodriguez wanders over to play it. Fierce battle ensues. Podkolzin to Arvidsson. He got checked by Jones. Kept alive at the point by Bouchard. Stroked it over to Ekholm. And now Mikkola trying to disrupt the cycle to Matthew Tkachuk. Took a pop from Ekholm and went down. Able to regain, floated around to Rodriguez, turned it over. Here's a dish to Ekholm, down low for Matthias Janmark. Another good shift by Edmonton, 2 in a row here. Bouchard hesitates, gives it up for Kane. Backhands it into the corner. Jones took it away from Janmark. And he'll drive his way down the left-hand side and from center ice make certain of a clear behind the Edmonton net. Skinner to Bouchard, Ekholm onto Evander Kane at the red line. He'll gain the zone with Nugent-Hopkins. Brown to Nugent-Hopkins, a shot kicked aside by Bobrovsky. But Edmonton's starting to come alive here. 3 consecutive shifts. Florida's been on its heels. Nurse unable to hold the zone. Spin move by Marchand, but Nurse read what he was trying to do and forced it free. Luostarinen ultimately was able to wedge it back into the Edmonton zone. It's a reset for John Klingberg. 6:50 to play, period 2. Klingberg didn't know what to do with the puck and released up the right-hand side. No icing, but also no real threat there. Ekblad put it through the middle, came off the boards. Skinner came way out to knock it away from the on-rushing Tomas Nosek, who scored 1 goal all season long. Oilers get it in deep. Henrique. Eve, Frederick, and Kapanen had a good shift last time, but here's an angled pass up the left-hand side for Greer. Well played by Brett Kulak, who came over to cut him off, flung it back to the point, knocked down by Mikkola. His shot blocked by Wallman. Rebound, Adam Henrique. And a soft flip through the middle will be settled ultimately by Jones. Mikkola backhands it off the boards. Nosek. He got popped by Wallman. Jones took the pass, went up the middle, and then misfired on a play intended for A.J. Greer, who was peeling off on a line change. So Wallman will take possession for the Oilers as we go inside. 6 minutes to play in period 2. Panthers 4, Oilers 1. Lead pass too far for Draisaitl. That's icing against Edmonton. Just out of the reach of Leon Draisaitl. Shots on goal, 21-17 Edmonton, but it's a 3-goal lead for the Florida Panthers.
Well, Bob's come up with a couple pretty big saves here, and unfortunately for the Oilers, right after the Perry power play goal, that was the turning point. They're back in the game at 2-1 and a turnover in their zone, and they beat Skinner high.
Important goal to get Sam Reinhart going from a Florida perspective. And then Bennett, who's been going the entirety of the playoffs, another goal to make it 4-1. Shot off the draw by Forsling on net. Saves Skinner. Rebound played out to Ekblad by Reinhart. Now Barkov from behind the net. Tried a interior pass to Verhaeghe. That slithered through untouched and was cleared by McDavid. A big hit up high. Ekblad really popped Corey Perry. I mean, that hit was up high, and I'm sure Perry took a number. Verhaeghe will dump it behind the Oiler defense. Ekholm comes over to gather. Barkov to Verhaeghe. Tried to give it back to him. That was broken up. Good work by McDavid defensively. Forsling sends it down low to Verhaeghe. Tracked by McDavid. Verhaeghe behind the net, falling down awkwardly was Brad Marchand. Jabbed free for Corey Perry, not out of the zone, held in by Seth Jones. Wired around the boards, picked up by Luostarinen. Tried to feed Lundell, that was broken up, and here comes Perry. He'll gain center and shoot it into the Florida zone. Bobrovsky will knock it down for Niko Mikkola. 4.5 to play. Arvidsson, a good read, a steal, but then he missed on a pass intended for Janmark, and it was tossed the other way by Lundell. Here come the Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk rips one on net. Save made by goaltender Stuart Skinner, and Luostarinen was boxed out of the rebound by Podkolzin, who ambles his way to center and gets it in deep. Arvidsson, a centering pass off the stick of Bobrovsky, and the rebound grabbed by Seth Jones, cleared by Rodriguez of the Panthers, and Klingberg back to center to collect for Edmonton. Edmonton. Shoots it back in. Matthew Tkachuk picks it up for the Panthers. Kulikov, one touched on to Evan Rodriguez. Lead pass. Bennett breaking through down the seam. Shoots! And that ended up wide. Skinner might have gotten a piece, but boy, Sam Bennett continues to find open space. He is feeling it. And with his contract up, he is going to make himself a lot of money when this is all said and done. Oilers get it in deep. Panthers on it. Nate Schmidt out to Gadjevich, and he'll hammer it in deep. That's going to be picked up in the corner by Brett Kulak. A big hit around the boards. You've got Ekblad, a quick shot, and that was deflected away. Racing over and sending it up the gut was Kulak. Oilers work their way into the offensive zone. Kane finishes his check. Digging after it is Connor Brown. Kept it alive. Centering pass. Scooped up and cleared by Nate Schmidt. Smart play. Gadjevich put too much on it, though. This is an icing call, and Jonah Gadjevich just needed one more stride there. An unforced error, and now Edmonton has an opportunity. They've got the fourth line for the Panthers stuck out there, so they're going to go right back to McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry, and Gadjevich just an ill-advised play.
Good save by Stuart Skinner. Rip job. Blocker side from Matthew Tkachuk as Florida got a little bit of a push here.
Maybe a high stick that was uncalled as Klingberg thought he was clipped right in the jaw.
Well, there's been a lot uncalled here in the second. Put their whistles away after calling everything in the first period.
Nosek won the faceoff against Draisaitl. Ekblad is able to toss it back to center. That was smacked down by Ekholm.
Perry got a nasty run in on Ekblad.
Here's McDavid. Corey Perry, big hit. Nate Schmidt. How about the Draisaitl cross-check earlier in this period on
There's another cross-check.
And we have a hand pass called at center and a face-off in the neutral zone when we return. 2:51 to play, second period. Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. Home of the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers, who lead this game 4-1. It's Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final right here. The Oilers Radio Network.
Benefits offers amazing coverage that even the toughest hockey players can get behind. With excellent coverage, they offer things like massage.
You want to go?
Counseling services.
Let's go!
Dental coverage.
That was not offside.
And eye exams. With custom health coverage for any group of any size, Bloom Benefits make every team better, stronger, and healthier. Plans start from just $54 a month. Rethink your benefits today at bloombenefits.ca.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Ready to score big on your outdoor space? It's game time with Park Landscaping. Transform your backyard into a winning arena with Park Landscaping's expert team. From design to maintenance of lush lawns and state-of-the-art synthetic turf to inviting pools and captivating water features, Park Landscaping will make your outdoor space the MVP. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with Park Landscaping. Call 780-486-2744 today or email info@parklandscaping.ca.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
4-1 hockey game, 2:51 to go, second period. Face-off coming at center ice. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. Florida took a 2-0 lead after one on an even-strength goal by Brad Marchand and a power play tally from Carter Verhaeghe. Corey Perry got the Oilers on the board 100 seconds into period two, with McDavid off the ice due to an equipment issue, but Florida bounced right back, scoring a minute 20 after that Perry power play goal to make it 3-1. Sam Reinhart's first of the series, and that was followed up by Sam Bennett, who stays hot with his fourth goal of the series and 14th of the playoffs. 4-1 Panthers. A steal by Nico Mikkola on a pass off the draw intended for Kasperi Kapanen, and then Bouchard got it across just enough for Ekholm to clear back through center. Frederick a reload for Edmonton. Ekholm up the left-hand side, intended for Henrique, picked off by Seth Jones, tapped down by Ekholm, and then he'll smack it down deep. This could be icing against the Oilers, and it is. With 2:11 to play in the second period, Florida 4 goals on 19 shots tonight. Edmonton 1 on 21 against Bobrovsky. And again, worth mentioning the split, Bob. His home road in the Stanley Cup final, 93% save percentage at home, 85% on the road, and that's coming off 2 pretty strong outings in games 1 of 2 of this series up at Rogers Place.
Well, this team can score. They're 9-3 on the road, so that save percentage and number tells you something, doesn't it, Jack?
Bouchard threw it length of the ice. It came off the boards. Bobrovsky wanted to move it, but held on too long, and now Kasperi Kapanen, who's certainly an agitator. He's another guy, Kapanen and Podkolzin, guys that you don't necessarily think of as overly chippy, but they are not well liked by the opposition, and that's a good thing.
Well, Kasperi can get in on the forecheck with his speed.
And so could Podkolzin.
And when he's struggled a bit and had his minutes cut, he's been pushed, and he gets more physical.
So now, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Kane, Bouchard and Wallman paired together here with 2 minutes to go in the second period. This time 5-on-5. Wallman, a shot off the draw and a save made by Bobrovsky. Rebound McDavid to the right flank and Bouchard. McDavid back to Bouchard down the seam, pulls it to his forehand and couldn't get one off. Checked by Verhaeghe, and now McDavid shadowed by Forsling. Behind the net is Draisaitl. Bouchard in the meantime, a drive that's held by a lunging Bobrovsky with Kane and Ekblad going at it yet again in front of the Florida net. A lot of healing tactics here from both sides. Minute 38 to go in the second period, and the linesmen at times, Bob, have to feel like a referee when there's a lot of clutch and grab, just constantly breaking the fighters up. And while no meaningful blows exchanged, certainly these two teams getting after one another tonight in Game 3.
I don't know why they reacted so aggressively on Kane there.
Out of habit, 4-1, Florida. 1:38 to play in the second period. Look, Florida fans on the Jumbotron celebrating my partner, Bob Stauffer.
I don't think I'm the Bob they're thinking of.
Bare-chested, red and white checked, homage.
Well, right now he's locked in, very comfortable.
Off the draw, McDavid able to keep it alive up top left point. Now to Kane on the half wall. Round the boards for Verhaeghe. Snatched it away from a pinching Bouchard. Forsling at the last minute. One touched it over to Ekblad, and a high floater is sent back towards center. Ekblad, of course, suspended for inadvertently using a banned substance down the stretch. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and all he knows is Florida, having played 11 seasons.
They'll get him and Bennett re-signed.
Mikula up the left-hand side. Chip up the wing. Smacked up the boards. Luostarinen able to pin it there in the corner. Horse collared by McDavid. Wallman trying to pry it loose. You got 5 players scrum in the far corner. Nurse, maybe a cross-check. Nurse, a couple of jabs, and then another shot. There's definitely a cross-check coming on Darnell Nurse. I don't know whether there's anything else. Florida Panthers got it in deep.
25 Edmonton Oilers cross-check.
And a frustrated Darnell Nurse to the box. And then Wallman came over with a pop on Sam Reinhart, who was also on the receiving end of the cross-check. So now leading 4-1. The Panthers get one here, Bob, and I'm not sure we're going to see Stuart Skinner for the third period.
Come in and they get one here.
See what happens. Nurse in the box, one of Edmonton's top penalty killers. So as a result, your Napa Auto Parts penalty kill looks like Kulak and Ekholm out there with Nugent Hopkins and Adam Henrique. Florida trying to put Game 3 away with a power play goal. 44.7 on the clock. Bennett will take the draw. against Adam Henrique. The Panthers lead by 3 goals. Henrique wins the faceoff. Ekholm trapped in the corner. Edmonton looking to get a kill and build some momentum for early in the third. Henrique took it away and eventually just dropped one deep in the Florida zone. Bobrovsky will knock it down for Nate Schmidt. Final 25 seconds, period 2. 4-1 Panthers. Schmidt shoots it off the end boards, reaching for it. Kulak, and it was banged off the side of the net by Bennett. Taken away by Connor Brown, and he got it through Nate Schmidt at the point. So just 12 seconds remain, and Florida's got to hurry here. Down to 8 seconds. Schmidt goes up the left-hand side, broken up by Janmark. Kulak will watch as the skate ends up in the corner. Kulak put it there, and a late shot by Rodriguez flies high and wide at the horn. And the Florida Panthers will have 1:16 and a fresh sheet of ice on the power play, as well as a 4-1 lead when we begin the third period in roughly 18 minutes time. And Bob, it obviously starts with a kill, and then you've got to work your way back somehow. This is not an easy club to come from behind against. The Oilers became the first team in the Paul Maurice era to win a Stanley Cup playoff game against Florida when trailing after 2 periods. They were down 1 goal in game 1. They're down 3 here. How would you suggest they chip away?
All I'm going to say is just win the period. Go from there. See if you can build some momentum on the third period. You've been outplayed here. I know the shots are 24-19. I don't trust the shots in this game. Let's just establish that. To me, the scoring chances are probably even. But their guys made a couple great saves. The Oilers were not disciplined early in this game. That's part of who they were. And it's tough. You come here on the road, and they're an emotional, physical team that play on the edge. And it's like they know exactly how far they can go. And if people really dug in as to why that's the case, they would not be surprised. But they're a team that is built a certain way, and they're a tough out. And the Oilers knew that coming in.
The Oilers are a tough out, too. They've proven that.
The Oilers are a team going into tonight's game that are...
AMJ is your go-to partner for all local residential and commercial relocations. AMJ delivers a smooth, stress-free experience. AMJ, your team for every move. Contact your local branch today.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Florida, a 4-1 lead as we begin the third period. Alongside Bob Stauffer, I'm Jack Michaels from our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Remember, the Oilers will be shorthanded for the first minute 16 of this final 20 minutes, and they're down 3. They'll start with Janmark, Brown, Wallman, and Ekholm on their shorthanded unit presented by Napa Auto Parts. Stuart Skinner remains in the pipes, and a face-off win for Sasha Barkov. Florida can pretty much seal it with a power play goal here. The Panthers have been close to lights out when leading entering the final 20 minutes. Oilers again ended a 30-game winning streak for Florida in the Stanley Cup playoffs with that come-from-behind win in Game 1. But that was only 1 goal. Panthers are doing nothing with this power play. The Oilers do a nice job of working it, eventually to Ekholm for a length of the ice clear. Ekblad back to Seth Jones, and with 40 seconds on the man advantage, here come the Panthers. They're in the red, moving right to left. The dangerous McDavid and Kapanen, a lot of speed on this particular penalty-killing unit. Kulak and Bouchard, wristed down deep by Barkov, turned over by Reinhart, and clubbed down the ice by Kapanen. McDavid with some token pressure, just something for Bobrovsky to think about. He curls it back to Seth Jones, and one last rush in the offing for the Panthers. Nico Mikkola through the neutral zone. He'll chip it to the far corner, track it down himself. Brad Marchand had his stick lifted by Bouchard, who in turn saw Luo Sturinen power into a crevice. Behind the net, Lundell threw it, but Kapanen first to get on the puck and eventually shoots it to the open side back towards center, and that's going to do it for the Florida power play. Hammered back in by Mikkola. Oilers penalty kill have done a reasonable job tonight. Florida's 1 for 5. Oiler power play 1 for 4. But 5-on-5, Florida has a 3-0 advantage. And now the Panthers are whistled for an offside.
Well, Edmonton has been very composed, Jack, over the last month. And that disappeared in the first period a bit. And I'm not quite sure why. But the bottom line here is I think Edmonton's a team that plays best with
when the penalties are down.
Yep. Just go
face-off win for Rodriguez. So in other words, even though it's not like Edmonton was shorthanded more often than Florida, it still favored the Panthers.
And the Panthers are a good team, and you know that.
Here's Evander Kane, a shot from the left wing. That was deflected away from Bobrovsky. Arvidsson hovering close by the rebound. Got it back to Klingberg. Good pressure here from Edmonton, 5-on-5. Draisaitl crowded by Rodriguez. Got the elbow up, taken off the boards. And Sam Bennett will clear for Nate Schmidt from center. He'll backhand it in deep. Skinner will knock it down. Skinner puts it up the glass, and that will be delay of game.
No, you don't need that to happen.
That did not catch the window on its way out, and as a result, the Oilers will be shorthanded for a sixth time tonight. 2 minutes for delay of game, whistled against Stuart Skinner.
Well,
penalty is served by Evander Kane, and Florida will get yet another opportunity to maybe put this one away with a 4-1 lead and on a sixth power play. Oilers' only goal tonight, Corey Perry on the power play. It marks the 8th consecutive game the Oilers have scored on the power play in this postseason. But now it's the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill that will try to keep Edmonton's hopes afloat. Henrique, Nugent Hopkins, Wallman,
and this second unit's been really good for them.
Sam Bennett's going to be chased out of the circle, replaced by Carter Verhaeghe. Marchand, Rodriguez, and Schmidt round out the second unit for Florida. And off the draw, it's Bennett. Scored his league-leading 14th earlier tonight. Shoots off the post, and he missed the 15th by a whisker.
Right now, Florida wins the cup. He's winning the Conn Smythe.
Sam Bennett, left-hand side, and he'd be the first Conn Smythe winner to hit free agency in half a century. Schmidt throws it toward the net, and that's going to be snared by Stuart Skinner. He'll freeze it with 17:20 to play in regulation and 1:39 in the delay of game call assessed against Stuart Skinner. And Bennett ripped that over the left shoulder, glanced off the goalpost. That's the only reason why Florida isn't up 5-1. Bennett, face-off win against Henrique. Verhaeghe across. Schmidt loads and fires, and a save made by Stuart Skinner, with the Panthers once again able to generate some traffic in front of the Oiler net in the form of Brad Marchand, who narrowly missed getting a piece of that puck. Tried to deflect it home. Henrique, this time against Evan Rodriguez. Face-off win for Rodriguez. Bennett across to Verhaeghe. Top of the left circle, Schmidt. Back to Bennett, right circle. Back to Verhaeghe, a one-timer, and that was blocked. Rebound, Verhaeghe, stopped by Skinner. But that's 2 seam passes in a row that Bennett has gotten to Verhaeghe, and that's what Edmonton must cut off. One-timer ripped by Rodriguez on a setup from Nate Schmidt. Here's Bennett firing, and that glanced off Skinner and flew out of play. Even the play where there was no shot, right before that, Bob, I was going to say, you got to get that, you got to get a stick on that seam pass. And then the second one was an excellent scoring chance, and Verhaeghe shot it right off the logo. Carter Verhaeghe, 33 Stanley Cup playoff goals to his credit.
Well, Allman gave a little shot there to Marchand. It's right now the Panthers are up in the game. They're in the driver's seat here, and they're clearly, the Oilers are agitated and frustrated.
Ekblad drops it off. Jones, Barkov on the goal line, checked by Nurse, coming over to help out. Matthew Tkachuk takes the pass inside. Reinhart, one-timer score. Ekblad, 5-1 Florida. Have taken total command of Game 3 of this Stanley Cup Final.
It's a nice goal.
Ekblad's fourth of the playoffs. And Reinhart, who got off the schneid in the second period with a goal, made a beautiful no-look pass, and Ekblad made no mistake. Stuart Skinner, helpless. Matthew Tkachuk will get his second point of the series, and that is going to be it. Stuart Skinner's gone. And this is a mercy pull. This is not related to Skinner's performance. He turns aside 18 of 23, and Calvin Pickard, for the first time since Game 2 of the Vegas series, which he won in overtime, returns to the net. He's 6-0 in this postseason with a save percentage of .888. It's his 11th career Stanley Cup playoff appearance. Kane lines up against Anton Lundell and wins the face-off. Tap back by Brown to Klingberg. Brown looking to guide one ahead for Kane. Broken up by Luostarinen. He'll hit the line right to left. Luostarinen, a shot kicked aside by Pickard. Rebound Kane, put it up the left-hand boards. Mikkola dashes over against Connor Brown. Jones did not get it out. Brown back on top of the puck for Edmonton. Still swinging around the boards. Klingberg had his shot blocked. Luostarinen at center ice. Carves it free, looking for Marchand. Ekholm attempted to clear, did not get it through. A second time, he'll put it up the left-hand side. And now Leon Draisaitl makes a move around Luostarinen. Dropped it off for Brown. Through the middle. Picked up by Kane. Not much on that backhand offering. And cleared ahead. Klingberg kept it in. Brown breaks in. Backhander to save made Bobrovsky. Panthers were cheating the zone a bit, and Brown broke in on a partial breakaway, and Bobrovsky stoned him. Panthers get it in deep. Forsling a shot from distance. That wobbled into the corner on a deflection. Nate Schmidt threw it around the boards for Sam Reinhart. What a feed he made to Ekblad to set up the second power play goal of the game for the Florida Panthers. And the fourth of Ekblad's postseason. Bouchard up the right-hand side. Arvidsson overran the play. Forsling knocked him down, and the Panthers send one skipping across the Oiler blue line. Wallman around to Bouchard. We've got a collision on the far side as a penalty call. Greer got popped. And this one seems on the verge of exploding. There was a collision involving Janmark and Greer. 5 minutes having been played in this third period. And Janmark's trudging to the penalty box. Here's the call. It's a roughing call on Janmark. And Bob, obviously the frustration continues to mount.
Yeah.
So Calvin Pickard on for Stuart Skinner will be tested by a Florida power play that's 2 for 6 tonight and 4 for 12 in the series. And this was after in the previous 2 Stanley Cup finals against Vegas in 23 and Edmonton last year, Florida went a combined 1 for 35. Off the draw, cleared by the Oilers down the right-hand side. This one would seem academic.
Yes, but I think if you're an Oilers partisan, you're thinking you needed to win the special teams battle. Florida has won that in the series so far.
Schmidt sends it in deep. For me, 5-on-5, what needs to be figured out is the Lundell, Marchand, Luostarinen line. That continues to be high prosperity for Florida. The Oilers brought it the other way. Short-handed Nugent Hopkins and Nurse are offside. But, Bob, this is not a problem unique to Edmonton. But it's one the Oilers, in my opinion, have to at least saw that off. Because right now, Florida's third line,
they're killing them. Well, and they're sawing off the top two lines. And again, that's where you lose one guy of Hyman's caliber. He's your third best forward. It's a 50-goal scorer. And you got to have other guys step up. And you think about what's happened tonight. But Colson turns the puck over on the 4-1 goal. The guy who's been pretty sure-handed and played a north-south game, and he got blown up by a big hit. Oilers got knocked on their ass from the get-go tonight, Jack, and they never were able to pick themselves up over the map. Early goal, and it just kind of unraveled from there. And this is as undisciplined and as frustrated as we've seen Edmonton since Game 2 of the LA series.
Still a Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Barkov breaking through the neutral zone, pulls up top of the right circle. Hits Sam Reinhart, left circle. Back to Barkov. They'd like to get Barkov going offensively. He'll go down low to Tkachuk. Tried to hit Ekblad. That pass was tipped by Wallman, who's out there with Podkolzin, Ekholm, and Kapanen. Jones in front. Reinhart booted it on net off the pads of Skinner. Kick back to Ekblad. Barkov loads and fires in front, and that was deflected. Intended for Matthew Tkachuk, who was looking to one-touch that home. Ekblad overpowered by Podkolzin, who manages to clear to center. Taken over by Barkov. Florida on the power play for another half minute. Walking in is Jones. Matthew Tkachuk. Lundell couldn't get it cleanly on his stick. Back to Reinhart. Fired across to Seth Jones. Shadowed on the right half boards by Ekholm. Shot Schmidt. Save Pickard. Rebound picked up. It's Barkov. Deep left corner. Put it behind the net. Tkachuk. Ushered on to Reinhart. Podkolzin forced a turnover. Good play by Podkolzin. And Ekholm a length of the ice clear. That'll do it for the Florida power play. The Panthers are 2 for 7, but now the clock is inside 13 minutes. And Edmonton's deficit is 4. 5-1 as Schmidt shoots it on net with the Oilers back at full strength. Pickard on to Brett Kulak up the right-hand side. Again, Skinner gone after giving up 5 goals on 23 shots. Marchand, that's offside as Lundell in the zone prematurely with 12:38 left in regulation. Florida 5, Edmonton 1. We continue with our live coverage in just 90 seconds. This is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final on the Oilers Radio Network.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the street. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers. 737373, Pizza 73.
If you've got educational goals, Portage College is ready to provide the assist. Portage College has over 30 programs, with some offered through blended delivery or entirely online. At Portage College, certificates, diplomas, apprenticeships, degree pathways, and micro-credentials are all within your reach. And just like any good team, it feels more like a family. With their small class sizes, you'll feel right at home in no time. To learn more about Portage College, visit portagecollege.ca. Portage College. It's about you.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon scoring in Leduc. Watch Tide tie things up in Tofield. Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Calvin Pickard has come on for the Edmonton Oilers for the first time since he won in overtime Game 2 of the Vegas series. Pickard was injured in that game when Tomas Hertl fell on him. Stuart Skinner came into that series, lost Game 3 at the buzzer, if you'll recall. And then the Oilers closed out the Vegas Golden Knights. And after dropping the opener in Dallas, won 4 straight against the Stars. Skinner started the first 2 games of this series, which were split, both overtime games. Edmonton winning 4-3. And then Florida countering with a 5-4 decision in double overtime. First time since 1951. Both games What do we have here? Offside or another penalty?
Should be a hook against Florida here.
Yeah. The Oilers were coming up ice left to right. And it is Brad Marchand with 12:08 to go. Perry scored the game-tying goal, latest game-tying goal in the history of the Stanley Cup Final. And 1951 was the prior record. But now in Game 3, Florida's taking control. Chris Knobloch not conceding anything with 12 minutes to go. Top power play unit out, of course. But again, here's Wallman instead of Nugent-Hopkins to start. Wallman and Bouchard at the points. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry. Draisaitl to take the face off to Bobrovsky's right. Atco power play tonight, 1 for 4. Off the draw, Luostarinen. A length of the ice clear. Pickard will leave it.
Florida's pressure game tonight has been too much for Edmonton to deal with.
Wallman with a drop-off for Connor McDavid left to right. Hits the Florida line using a pick on Luostarinen, who then forced a pass to Draisaitl right point. Little give and go. Draisaitl on his backhand had it stripped by Mikkola. Those two tangle along the end boards. McDavid reaching, and then he got belted as he pushed the puck back to Bouchard in the high slot. Walking the line, Evan Bouchard now on to Connor McDavid. Oilers' only goal came on the power play. McDavid dishes Wallman a shot, and that was blocked. Going down, Nosek to get in the lane, and a clear by Mikkola. Nosek completely sold out there and got the block. Nugent-Hopkins and Kane have come on. In fact, the entire second unit halfway through this power play has come on for the Edmonton Oilers. Henrique and Kane off a dump in, forechecking. Klingberg held the line briefly. Florida had a chance to clear, didn't get it done. Ekblad a second chance, and that's held in at the line by Brett Kulak in the high slot. It's Klingberg. Pressure up top by Barkov. Fed down low to Kane by Nugent-Hopkins. Klingberg, right point. Steps up between circles. Looks for a lane. Shoots! And a blocker save made by Bobrovsky. Kulak did well to hold the zone. Kane got thundered into. Put it off the side of the net. And that came free out of the reach of Henrique. And then Klingberg had his shot blocked and went awkwardly into the half wall. Florida with a chance to clear. Didn't get it done again. Held in by Kulak. Another opportunity, and finally Forsling backhands it through Klingberg as Nugent-Hopkins drilled him. That'll do it for the Edmonton power play. The Oilers are 1 for 5. Klingberg retrieving the puck up the left-hand side for Ekholm. 10 minutes to play in this hockey game. Florida 5, Edmonton 1 in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Oilers took Game 1. Panthers answered to get the split. And it's looking increasingly like the Oilers will have to do the same thing. Get the second one on the road to gain home ice advantage back in this series. Bennett kept it in the Edmonton zone. The chance of we want the cup going, and now Bennett getting popped from behind, and this one ready to explode, and now Bennett's on top, and now we've got mayhem breaking out. Gadjevich and Greer, big punches landed. Gadjevich throwing left hands on Darnell Nurse. That's the principal bout here. Gadjevich and Nurse as Greer roughed up Ekholm.
Gadjevich trying to get the takedown, Jack.
Gadjevich can't get the takedown. Schmidt now engaged with Connor Brown, and we've got a line brawl. 3 fights. Kulikov and Arvidsson initially wrapped up, and now Gadjevich has his right hand free and eats a right uppercut from Darnell Nurse. Gadjevich lands a left jab. And then a right hook. Nurse landed a couple uppercuts early, but now Gadjevich has caught him a couple times. Nurse getting that right hand free. Takes a chopping right. And another right hand and a left jab. Nurse fires back with a right uppercut. And a second right hand over the top. Right hook Gadjevich. Tremendous fight right at the blue line in front of the Oiler bench. Gadjevich left jab. Nurse short with an uppercut. Right hook Gadjevich. What a fight. Still not breaking it up. Gadjevich and Nurse stretching one another out. Gadjevich short with a right hook. And now I think, well, Nurse threw one more right hand, and finally they're tied up. Terrific fight between two tough customers. That was a situation where you had Gadjevich, Greer, and Bennett out there. Nurse was out there for Edmonton, but ultimately that played right into the fivesome that Florida had out on the ice, Bob.
Yep.
And for the Oilers, you didn't have Kane, you didn't have Podkolzin, you didn't have some of the guys.
You're going to have it next.
Right.
You're going to have it next.
9:31 to go, third period. Well, you kind of knew that was coming. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final, and really Game 10 of the Stanley Cup Final if you want to go back to last year. Two great teams who don't necessarily like one another. You don't have to make for great hockey. The Panthers look like they've got this one in the bag. It's 5-1 in Game 3 when we come back with 4 Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence.
Is the Oilers Radio Network.
A 5-1 hockey game, and absolute mayhem on that last shift. Basically a line brawl.
I think Greer and Gadjevich and Bennett might be getting the rest of the night off for Florida. And I think the Oilers nurse, along with Frederick, probably, I would think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, not many others were involved from an Oiler perspective. Nurse and Frederick, but like Ekholm wasn't fighting. He was getting popped by A.J. Greer.
Yeah.
In my mind, you could very well see an Edmonton power play out of this.
I think it'll be 3 misconducts for 3 misconducts. That's my prediction.
Well, you've got Nurse and Frederick going off. I mean, I don't know whether Ekholm would necessarily merit a misconduct.
I mean, Ekholm got jumped.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't see how you give him the gate. But I think they might have, Bob. And Ekholm was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. He's out, too. So I told you, 3 10s for 3 10s. But 9:31, this is gamesmanship.
That doesn't necessarily make it right.
No.
Ekholm did not deserve a 10 there.
No, it does not make it right. This is game management on the part of 2 veteran officials. And my guess is they probably told Evander Kane no BS here. Well, right now, Perry's in the box for the Oilers. Is Edmonton shorthanded? They are. The Oilers are shorthanded.
They got the extra 2. So this is an 8th power play for Florida out of that. And they're sticking with their top unit. Barkov wins the faceoff. Tkachuk wired a shot. That was blocked by Kulak. Now, this may be Paul Maurice trying to get, in particular, Barkov going offensively. Reinhart to Seth Jones on the right-hand side against the Oiler penalty killers of Nugent-Hopkins, Henrique, Bouchard, and Kulak. Tkachuk threw it up the boards, and Jones was unable to hold the zone. 9 minutes to play in regulation. Florida comfortably ahead at 5-1. Jones kicks it back to Barkov. Coming into this game, Florida was 1 of 28 on the power play at home. They're 2 for 7.
Well, they keep giving them up free opportunities, Jack. Too many men on the ice. Right?
Couple of reckless plays early by Evander Kane.
Put the puck over the glass by Stuart Skinner.
Panthers dump it in. Seth Jones. Inside to Tkachuk. Forked it free for Ekblad. Paul Maurice was asked about that home road discrepancy on the power play because, of course, they're 40% on the road, and he said, we don't know. I'm not going to try to give you an answer. Rifled by Verhaeghe on net. Skinner made a good save, and Janmark controlled the rebound and brought it all the way up the ice. Tried to hit Podkolzin, but Marchand with a steal. Brad Marchand breaks loose of Podkolzin. Tried to make a move around Klingberg and turned it over. Podkolzin threw it across, and now you've got Wallman trying to spin off a check from Forsling at center ice. 8 minutes to play in regulation. Florida 5, Edmonton 1. And the Panthers on the power play for the next 20 seconds with Perry serving an extra 2. Nate Schmidt on to Carter Verhaeghe. Brad Marchand worked over by Kapanen. Tried to go inside, and Kapanen made the steal. He'll bring it to center and loft it behind the Florida defense, and then he'll do it for the Panther power play.
2 for 8.
Edmonton 1 for 5. Florida 2 for 8. Again, 1 for 28 on home ice coming in during these Stanley Cup playoffs. Nearly identical power play rate from the Oilers this year. A drive from distance, and Bobrovsky had trouble handling the rebound. Perry dislodged to Bouchard, and his shot rocketed out of play by an active stick from Sam Reinhart. With 7:05 remaining in this third period, and the score 5-1 Florida will have a face-off to Bobrovsky's left-hand side. Calvin Pickard has come on for Stuart Skinner and stopped all 5 shots that he's seen. Meanwhile, Sergei Bobrovsky closing in on yet another solid performance in the Stanley Cup final at home. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Kane out there with 7 minutes to play in the third. Kulak and Bouchard defensively. Draisaitl wins the face-off, and it's going to be whistled down. And if it's a face-off involving Leon Draisaitl, that should surprise no one listening to this broadcast. Draisaitl pleading his case, but McDavid will step in for him. Against Barkov. A reminder, Game 4 Thursday night. We'll have it for you at 6:20 Mountain from Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. Off the draw, Mikkola lost a battle to Evander Kane, who powered it back behind the net. Reinhart to Barkov, who turns, waits, sends it over to Seth Jones, collected, and then failed to clear it out of the zone, although Draisaitl juggled and lost the handle back to center. So Edmonton must reload. Kulak and Bouchard out there on the power play, and it's Kulak who takes a lead pass from Draisaitl and flips it behind the Florida defense. As now we've got 5-on-5 hockey. Draisaitl against Barkov. Threw it around the boards. Bouchard steps up with a shot from distance, and a stick save made by Bobrovsky. Kane thundered into Barkov. Bobrovsky made a blocker save on a shot from distance against Kulak. Verhaeghe comes over to handle the puck for Florida and works it behind the net for Seth Jones. He knifes it ahead for Verhaeghe, and it's carved out of the corner and down the ice, and a big hit on Verhaeghe. And Verhaeghe might be a little shaken up, and Kane might get the gate here. Are they just sending Kane off? I mean, is it a boarding penalty, or are they just giving him an arbitrary 10?
I think he got a stick up on Verhaeghe behind the play here. It
looked like he was pointing toward the gate like automatic ejection here. Let's get the call.
There's a major penalty on the play. Plays under review.
Kane on his way by kind of jabbed the stick near Verhaeghe's face. He caught a piece of him, and then a big slash. Verhaeghe chopped down by Bouchard. Bouchard was actually the man that chopped Verhaeghe down. That's not a
It barely touched him.
Right.
It barely touched him.
Bouchard, did he get away with a slash? That's what we don't know. I mean, Evander Kane, there's no way that's a 5-minute major. But a huge windup from Evan Bouchard on the slash to Verhaeghe. They missed the slash.
Might be on Booch and not Kane. Here's the call.
Number 91, Edmonton's got a minor for a slash and a 10-minute misconduct.
They just wanted him out of the game. That's all they did. They just wanted him out of the game.
Now, Bouchard, you certainly could have called a slash and a 10-minute misconduct if you wanted to. So this will be power play number 9 for Florida. 6:05 to go in the third period. And Bob, this one feels about as long as the double overtime affair we called the other night in Edmonton. But of course, this one will be decided within the 60 minutes. Henrique and Nugent-Hopkins lining up for the draw, and Barkov wins the faceoff. Here's Matthew Tkachuk, left circle, curled it back to Seth Jones. Tkachuk coming off the goal line, peers inside, threw it across, that was tipped. Barkov, the Florida captain, swung it back to Jones. No lane, Barkov Pressure from Henrique. Up top, Nugent Hopkins. A shot deflected wide of Pickard. Kachuk on the rebound. Klingberg and Wallman out there, rounding out the Napa Auto Parts penalty-killing foursome. Shoveled behind the net by Ekblad. Kachuk let it go through. Reinhart, Barkov up top for Seth Jones. Inside to Reinhart, a one-timer to save made by Pickard. Rebound shoveled out by Nugent Hopkins. Down the ice and more pushing and shoving. And now Wallman threw a big right hand. Ekblad comes flying in. Wallman threw a huge right hand trying to catch Matthew Kachuk. And more posturing, squaring up. Ekblad looks like he might want to fight out of this. Nugent Hopkins and Reinhart jab one another. Now, Nugent Hopkins was a question mark for this game. Ordinarily, that might be a fight that Nugent Hopkins could be goaded into and would take. But he's not going to take it in this situation. Ekblad wanted a chunk of Wallman for throwing that haymaker at Matthew Kachuk, but he's restrained by linesman Trent Noor. And more penalties to follow here. As this game 3.
96 Edmonton has 4 minutes roughing, 2 minutes on sportsmanlike. Number 5 Florida has double minor roughing, 2 minutes up on Edmonton.
He said 4 Florida, he means 5 Florida, which is Ekblad. And this game is starting to
deteriorate.
And it's a ponderous conclusion. So they'll sort out this. Wallman's gone for the game. 5:16 remaining third period. Well, you start thinking about adjustments, quite frankly, for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, Bob. If you want to, the opportunity for lineup changes there. Wallman with Klingberg holding Kachuk.
He got his
landed a couple of shots, and then Ekblad came flying in to protect Kachuk. That reminded me years ago, Bob, and I don't know whether you were following the league that closely. I think it was Andrew Toney that pinned Larry Bird's arms back behind him, and Julius Erving popped him a couple times.
That reminded me of when Ryan Whitney in Arizona behind the goal. And was it Derek Morris got a free hand on Ryan Whitney and landed like, was it, so it's a 5-on-3.
5-on-3. McDavid's serving the extra penalty. It's the 9th. It's going to be the 9th power play for Florida when it's all said and done. 5-on-3. Rodriguez up to Schmidt, and now Seth Jones left circle. Kulak, Klingberg, and Janmark out there for Edmonton. Here's a dish to Jones. He'll move it for Hagee, net front presence. Well, now Florida's called off the dogs here. Rodriguez, one-timer. That was blocked by Klingberg. Nosek is playing net front. Verhaeghe on the right flank. And Schmidt and Jones up top. Tried to slither it through, did Verhaeghe to Rodriguez. Broken up by Janmark, and the 5-on-3 down to 25 seconds. 4.5 left in the third period. Florida 5. And Edmonton 1. Here's Seth Jones working his way down the right-hand side for Nico Mikkola. Luostarinen to Mikkola. Jones, right circle, wrist shot, and that was blistered up top and out of play. Kulak got the deflection. Kapanen flattened Luostarinen and is immediately worked out of there by Trent Noor. And the officials are just trying to get this game over with. 4:13 to go in the third period. Kapanen got a heavy piece of Luostarinen. Just cross-check to Luostarinen for no apparent reason.
Edmonton 42, 2 minutes left, checking, 10 misconduct.
Yeah, that's a 2 and a 10. And if this keeps going, Bob may have to shed the blue suit and get down there in his old. What were the last pair of skates?
They're at the house.
What's that?
They're at the house, Jack.
No, but what brand?
super tax.
All right. So with 4:13 to play in the third, it's going to be a 5-on-3 for about another 8 seconds, then another 49 seconds.
Kapanen had a nice engaging conversation with some of the luminaries behind the Oilers bench.
And who would that be? Did you lay eyes on them?
No, the fans.
Oh, not a fan. I mean, there are a lot of luminaries here.
Yeah.
You know them all. You just don't introduce me. Face off on the dot immediately outside the Edmonton blue line. Nosek will line up against Connor Brown. Klingberg and Kulak round out, and the Edmonton bench is lonely right now. You've got 6 players, plus the 3 are on the ice. Edmonton's finishing this game with 9 skaters. Here's Forsling stepping up. 5-on-3, remember. Mikkola with control of the puck for Florida. Mikkola to Rodriguez. One-timer score. 6-1. That's Rodriguez's second goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the 5th over 2 years head-to-head against Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final. Time 16:10. Third power play goal of the night for Florida. And 5th in this series. And again, last year in the Stanley Cup final, Florida was 1 for 21 on the power play with 2 shorthanded goals against. Rodriguez from Mikkola, 6-1. Face off at center, a battle of 92s, but Colson wins it against Tomas Nosek. Florida still on the power play for another minute 40. Kulak clears and drills it down the middle of the ice. And there's some pushing and shoving involving Nosek and Kulak, who brought his elbow up pretty high on Nosek. Gaining the line at center is Gustav Forsling. He'll send it in, but Colson clears length of the ice. Forsling, by the way, will get a second assist on the scoring play. 6-1 Florida, 3:10 to go in the third. Bumped in by Lundell, hammered down the ice by Kulak, and more penalties. Kulak.
It's going to be a penalty on Florida for an elbow to the head.
Well, Kulak got away with an elbow on the head on the prior shift to Nosek, and then Luostarinen came over and retaliated against Kulak, and I think he's getting called here.
27, Florida's got a minor for a charge.
Oh, a charge officially. So we'll play 4-on-4 for the next 58 seconds, and then Edmonton will get a power play for a minute 2. That's if everything holds up. And this third period is aging my partner by the minute.
Oh, it happens once in a while.
I think you might need a touch-up by the...
I don't need a touch-up. You want to put some skates on me, I'll go out there and go run somebody and cross-check somebody as well. Got no problem with that.
3 minutes to go in the third. I'm just talking about the length of this game.
I understand the frustrations got out of control, and Edmonton's going to have to play completely composed on Thursday. They're going to have a chance to recalibrate.
Here's Barkov. Around McDavid, dishing off. Kulikov, backhander denied by Pickard. Rebound stayed out. McDavid got it ahead for Leon Draisaitl. Pestered by Nate Schmidt. This is a 4-on-4 situation. You got McDavid and Draisaitl out there, principally because Edmonton's down to 9 skaters. Otherwise, they likely would not touch the ice in a 6-1 contest.
No.
Draisaitl dropping it off for Bouchard, and he will leisurely skate off the ice alongside McDavid as the Oilers prepare to go on a power play here.
Just want to get this game over with, Jack, if you're Edmonton. And it's a best of 7, not a best of 3.
Henry checked by Jones as he entered the zone on the right-hand side. And Jones with the puck. Edmonton officially on an Atco power play for half of what's remaining in the game as we go inside 2 minutes. the We Want the Cup chants from 19,500 plus at Amerant Bank Arena. Bouchard whistles it in deep. Rodriguez wedged it outside and ultimately into the bench. So the faceoff will come out to the neutral zone with 39 seconds left in the penalty to Luos Arena.
Jack, the decision to toss both Ekholm and Frederick out of the game when they were basically jumped in that sequence was something. And that was classic game management from the officials. Same with the play on Evander Kane. I mean, he barely touched the Florida player. Give him a little bit of a love tap.
Here's Bouchard stepping up. A sliding stop made by Bobrovsky. Rebound available. Connor Brown couldn't finish. Here's a feed inside for Podkolzin. Knocked off a stick and back to the red line. This is an Oiler power play, remember. Bouchard off to Janmark. Nosek, Brown, and Arvidsson. Here's Janmark hitting the line. Arvidsson jabbed off a stick. Bouchard will put it around the board, stepping up and maintaining as Janmark cross-seamer. Broken up by Lundell, who's able to one-hand it down the ice, and that'll do it for the Oiler power play. Final minute. Florida's going to win this hockey game and take a 2-1 series lead. Game 4, Thursday night. 6:20 Mountain right here on the Oilers Radio Network. Podkolzin jumps inside Mikkola. Got it in deep. Finishes his check on Seth Jones. Tugged up the left-hand side. Rodriguez backs off as Klingberg settles it down for Edmonton. Final half minute. And what's left of this crowd waving their white towels and celebrating a Florida victory that pulls the Panthers within 2 wins of a second consecutive Stanley Cup. Perry tried to get inside. Could not. Luostarinen banged into by Kulak. And now Mikkola will safely backhand it through the middle. Final 10 seconds. And Klingberg, I believe, will just keep it on his stick. Uncorks a blast at Bobrovsky to save made. Perry wants to fight Mikkola.
No, he doesn't need to do that.
Gloves,
doesn't need to do that.
They don't. And now Connor Brown gives Mikkola a bit of a stick. This one ready to explode here. Perry wrapped up with an official. Nosek throwing hands on Corey Perry.
The official is doing a favor.
To separate the two.
He's doing a favor to Corey Perry because right now it's a fighting match in the final 5 minutes of the game. They'll give them roughing penalties and misconducts just so the guys don't get suspended for the next game.
Meanwhile, all the rats come tumbling into the ice. So you've got rats, plastic rats landing on the ice surface. Brown and Mikkola jawing at one another. And ultimately, the players will be pried apart.
I can't believe the refs have not got this under control yet.
They finally separate Perry and Rodriguez, and Perry reluctantly heads to the dressing room, and Florida has the finishing touches finally on a 6-1 victory in Game 3. The shot's 33-31 in favor of Edmonton, but Florida, the key sequence in this game after Corey Perry brought the Oilers to within 2-1, Sam Reinhart off a turnover scored a minute 20 later, and then when Sam Bennett scored on basically a partial 2-0,
it was game over.
The Florida Panthers were able to ride it home from there, and they win comfortably on home ice by a count of 6-1. Oilers outshot the Panthers in 2 of the 3 periods, but ultimately
it's quite irrelevant, isn't it? Yeah,
quite irrelevant. 6-1 your final, and Edmonton, I think, now has to channel what Florida did in Game 2. The Panthers were disappointed. They let a third period lead and a 3-1 advantage in Game 1 get away. But when the night was down on Friday, they could say, we have our split. We got what we came for. I think Edmonton, regardless of the final score tonight, has to look at Game 4 the same way. If the Oilers win on Thursday night, they've regained home ice, and it's a best of 3, and 2 of the games will be played at Rogers Place.
There's only one thing that has to happen on Thursday. Edmonton must play with composure. And hopefully they got the crap out of their system tonight. I get it. It's a team that pisses you off. They're in your face. And by the way, their goalie ended up being a third star tonight because